The internet's come a long way from dial-up modems to social media. It's transformed how we connect and live. But what if I told you the internet was about to change again? So today we're diving into Web3, the next phase of the internet. So whether you've never heard of it or you're just trying to figure out what it all means, I'll break it down and I'll also have a look at related concepts and of course paint it with some real-world examples. So starting with the evolution of the internet, the first phase of it was Web 1. Okay, that was all about information. Websites were static, like digital brochures. So your role as a user of that was limited to just read or reading things, not actually updating anything. So you could browse for the information, but there was no way of actually interacting or contributing. Then came Web 2, the internet as we know it today. So this phase actually let us create and share content through platforms like Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. Web 2 actually turned the internet into a massive playground for creativity and connection, but it also brought a problem, and that was centralization. So most online activity as we know it happens through a handful of large platforms that control your data, decide the rules, potentially what information you receive, and also take a cut of the profits. Enter Web 3, where this changes everything. So it's decentralized, meaning no single company controls the system. Instead, power is actually distributed across a network of computers. So Web 3 will give you that control over your digital life, where you actually own your data, your assets, and even your online identity, which sounds pretty good, doesn't it? It's like owning versus renting your home. You're in charge. What are the building blocks of Web3? Blockchain technology. Blockchain, which is the foundation of Web3, is decentralized. It's a digital ledger that records transactions across many computers. Think of it as a shared public record that's extremely difficult to change or hack. Okay? How it works? Transactions performed by organizations or individuals are grouped into what are called blocks. The blocks are then added to the chain in chronological order. Each block contains a unique code, or what we call a hash, of the previous block, creating a chain of blocks. And this makes it nearly impossible to alter the information once it's recorded. So the key benefits of this are transparency. All of those transactions on those blocks are visible to everyone, okay? They're secure. The blockchain itself is highly secure due to the cryptography on it, or those codes that make it impossible to get access to. And they're also immutable, which means once information is recorded on the blocks, it's very difficult to change. I've actually got a separate video on my channel here, Digital Skills with Andrew, called Explaining Blockchain and Cryptocurrency in Plain English. So please check that out, because I go into all of these concepts in a lot more detail. Another building block of Web3 are smart contracts. So these are self-executing agreements with the terms of the contract actually written into the code, okay? So they're automatically enforced without needing a third party or middleman. So if I was to use an analogy, think of smart contracts as a digital self-executing vending machine for complex transactions. So just like a vending machine, they're programmed with specific rules and outcomes in that code, as I mentioned. You input the required payment, which would be, in this case, cryptocurrency, data, or meeting certain conditions of the contract. So once the input is verified, it automatically executes the transaction. So the entire process is transparent. It can be observed by all parties involved, and it operates without human intervention, reducing that need for any intermediaries. Smart contracts themselves can handle much more complex and valuable transactions than just dispensing snacks, obviously. So these sorts of transactions could be automating business agreements or financial trades. The key benefits of smart contracts is the automation side, obviously. Tasks run automatically, reducing any human intervention. Transparency, the contract terms are publicly visible. And from a security point of view, they're executed on a blockchain, ensuring that security and immutability that I talked about before. So a contract is actually kicked off and executed when certain terms in that contract that are embedded into that code are met. So what I mean by that, if I was to give you an example, if we had a smart contract for the purchase of 1,000 shares of a particular company, and one of those conditions are that we only want to buy them if the price is no higher than $4.25. So once the price falls to the level as defined by the contract, then that buying of shares will be enacted because it's actually embedded in the code of the contract itself. So no human will be watching that price. It's actually using the smarts of code verification to enable that trade to occur. Some other building blocks of Web3 include artificial intelligence and machine learning, in no surprise to anyone. So artificial intelligence and machine learning enhance Web3 by providing the personalized content and recommendations that we need to do certain things like shopping and recommendations. They improve the natural language processing for better human-computer interaction, and of course, enhance data analysis in decentralized networks. So another technology that's a backbone of Web3 is the semantic web. So that's all about interconnected data, all right, to make sure that in its simplest terms, the left hand is talking to the right hand and quickly. Okay, so what I mean by that is the data is structured in a way for easy machine understanding. Okay, this enables more efficient information discovery and integration, enabling that interconnectivity, and of course, improve search accuracy and relevance because we always want to get the right output from the internet. Another building block is interoperability. Okay, so what this actually means is that it allows seamless interactions in Web3 between platforms and applications. So it allows that cross-chain communication between different blockchain networks, as I was explaining before about those chains of blocks. It enables easy transfer of assets and data across the Web3 applications, and of course, enables the creation of a unified and accessible decentralized ecosystem that allows that full transparency that we talked about. So another important building block of Web3 is what we call tokenization. So what is this? It's actually like creating a digital certificate of ownership for almost anything of value. So this could include things like physical assets like real estate, art, and gold, financial instruments like stocks and bonds, or even intangible assets like intellectual property and carbon credits. So how tokenization works is that we have this digital representation. So an asset is actually represented as a digital token on a blockchain, okay? It operates on the concept of fractional ownership. So these tokens that I just talked about can be divided into smaller units, allowing multiple people to own a portion of a valuable asset. So think of part ownership of a house based on the tokens you actually hold. It enables easy transfer where tokens can be bought, sold, or traded quickly and securely without any intermediaries. And of course, transparency. So all transactions are recorded on that blockchain, providing a clear history of ownership so that everybody can see. So the benefits of using tokenization, well, it enables that increased liquidity. Assets that were previously difficult to divide, like a house or trade, can now be easily bought and sold. Accessibility, it lowers the barrier to entry for investors, particularly home ownership, allowing them to invest in high value assets with smaller amounts, which would be good news to a lot of people in younger generations. Efficiency, it reduces transaction costs and speeds up the process of buying or selling assets, which is always good. And it enables new investment models. So this allows innovative fundraising methods and investment opportunities for startups, say. So by representing assets as digital tokens, Web3 is actually making it possible for more people to participate in various markets across the world and actually creating new ways to manage and trade value. So what are some real world applications of Web3? Decentralized finance, or as it's known, DeFi. Okay, so DeFi is revolutionizing finance by removing those traditional intermediaries like banks, for instance. So that allows certain transactions to occur, like lending crypto assets or cryptocurrency assets to others at an interest, maybe borrowing crypto using your assets as collateral, or putting up assets as a way to be able to pay back that loan if your loan defaults, or maybe even smart contracts that automate the process, ensuring that trust and security and all the benefits of the blockchain technology. So platforms like Aave and Compound allow users to lend and borrow cryptocurrencies without traditional banks. Another real world use for Web3 is decentralized exchanges, or DEXs, as it is commonly known. This is where we can trade cryptocurrencies directly with other users without centralized exchanges. And we can use automated market makers, or AMMs, to facilitate trades which provide liquidity and determine prices automatically. So an example here might be Uniswap, which is a popular decentralized exchange for trading various cryptocurrencies. Another use of Web3 is what's called NFTs, or non-fungible tokens. So what on earth is this? So non-fungible tokens are unique digital assets representing ownership of specific items, like digital art or virtual real estate. So they're like digital certificates of authenticity, providing that you own a specific item. So how NFTs work is that they're created on a blockchain, recording ownership and the transaction history. And each NFT has a unique identifier, making it distinct from others. And the applications of these might be things like digital art and collectibles. So artists can sell their digital art as non-fungible tokens, and collectors can buy and trade them. Gaming assets, well, in-game items can be tokenized as non-fungible tokens, allowing players to own and trade them. Real estate, well, real estate properties could be tokenized, allowing for fractional ownership and easier trading, as I said before. And even tickets and event passes, tickets to concerts, sporting events, and other events can be sold as non-fungible tokens as well. So it's actually quite an extensive set of use cases for NFTs, or non-fungible tokens. Another use of Web3 are DAOs, or Decentralized Autonomous Organizations. So what these are organizations run by code, not people, allowing communities to make decisions collectively, which is always a good thing. So how they work is members hold tokens representing the ownership and voting rights. So some people might hold more than others, therefore will have more voting rights than others that don't have as many tokens. Proposals are submitted and voted on by the community. And of course, smart contracts will automate that decision execution, given that certain conditions that are embedded in the code of those smart contracts are fulfilled. Okay. The applications here might be community governance. So decentralized autonomous organizations can be used to govern communities and make collective decisions in whatever community organization we're talking about. Fundraising and investment. So DAOs can raise funds for projects and invest in other projects, and potentially philanthropy. So decentralized autonomous organizations can be used to donate to charitable causes as well. Another use of Web3, digital identity and privacy. So Web3 will actually allow you to control your digital identity rather than a third party doing that. So this is where we use a digital wallet to store personal information securely. So we use this digital wallet to access online services without relying on a centralized platform or an organization, which can control that data. So in effect, it's a self-sovereign identity where you control your digital identity without relying on any third-party providers, which I think is brilliant. And another great use of Web3 is supply chain transparency. So because we're using the blockchain technology, we can track products from origin to the store shelf, ensuring that transparency and accountability that blockchain allows. So how it works is that each supply chain step is recorded on the blockchain. This creates an immutable record of a product's journey, which means you can't change it, okay? So consumers can actually verify that product authenticity and origin because it's on the blockchain. So what are some of the challenges of Web3? Well, networks can become congested. So especially as more people are using Web3, this may actually slow down performance. User experience, well, Web3 can be complex for newcomers with unfamiliar concepts and interfaces. So there's a bit of a learning curve involved in the use of it. Regulatory uncertainty, well, governments are still developing regulations for cryptocurrency and blockchain. And given that Web3's building blocks are blockchain and cryptocurrencies, there's going to have to be further government regulations about what is allowed and what isn't allowed, or even how the government needs to get involved, given that it's a decentralized technology. And security risks, well, like any technology, Web3 faces those potential hacking and phishing threats. So this is where it's going to be very important that we're all on top of this. So in terms of the future potential, well, Web3 is shaping the internet, giving users more control and opening up new possibilities. So as we've seen, it's not just about cryptocurrencies, it's a whole new way of interacting online. So this future, will be more about user-owned and controlled social platforms rather than organization and potentially government-controlled platforms. We may go down the path of the metaverse and virtual reality. So this is where we're talking about immersive digital worlds with ownable virtual assets because of the ability of tokenization. And of course, because Web3 uses AI and machine learning integration, then this will enable the enhancing of blockchain technology itself and creating more intelligent applications. I'd love to hear your comments about what you're most interested in or excited about with Web3. So, whether it's you're excited at the concept of tokenization and part ownership of a house, or decentralized finance, getting rid of intermediaries, owning digital art, or just having more control over your online identity, please put your comments down below. So if you've enjoyed this video and you've learned something, please subscribe to my channel, Digital Skills with Andrew, share with your friends and colleagues and family, and until I see you in my next video, stay informed.